How's it going, everyone? Welcome, Eulier, again. In today's video, we're gonna take a look now. This particular segue that we took as we starting to define is the infrastructure when it comes to maintain this large code bases over a long period of time with a wide range of contributors in large teams. So, which is enterprise UI development. So, because of that, and as a way to now see how can we integrate this idea, especially from the compliance and security, which is something that a lot of companies actually are promoting to their employees, as a way to, hey, we need to actually is follow this particularly policies based on the jurisdictions that this company actually now makes its operations, which is in the context of the SOC, which is the auditing, the internal auditing that company needs to pass as a way to those particular applications work as expected. So in other words, is to be trustworthy. So for example, SOC 2 is one of them, which is performed by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountant as well. Then you have also is the CCPA, the California Consumer Privacy Act, as a way to now indicate that how the data is going to be sold, and the CPRA, which is Consumer Privacy Right Act, as a way to outline is how is this data is going to be shared, and what data is going to be shared, and also from the Europe with the GDPR is this General Digital GDPR, General Digital Privacy Regulation. All of this is just for compliance, right? And when it comes to security, we also need to describe is, for example, how security has been managed, and now specific companies or big companies actually are still using that particular model, which is the castle and moat, and how now it has been something that is not quite adequate, or that has been a losing strategy. And now why we have here things like zero trust and encryption. So that's what we're going to talk about into this video. Well, understand how do we get here, which is at the end of the day, when you are now providing your labor, or when you're providing your servers to a particular company that need to actually implement all of this systems, when they need to actually lay out the foundations to make this particular code base maintainable as much as possible in the context of UI, using now tools like JavaScript or any web application using JavaScript, whether it is on the client and on the server, particularly here on the client. So we need to have is this common components of a well architecture UI, which is we need to define is the builds, the testing system, as well as the build system, and also the static analysis, and then on top of that you're going to define is your process. So process like code review and designing documents. So how we're going to now integrate is features, or how we're going to change features to our applications, and how we're going to now is define some blueprints, and then the patterns based on this process, which is what are the problems that happen anytime we need to do our job on the field doing this process, and how we can come up with some solution for that. So what are the typical problems that we need to come up with some solutions? This particular pattern. So for example, when we need to lay out the infrastructure, it's like, hey, how can we do that? What is the project folder structure that we need to follow, especially when we use is and when we need to build this user interface for our clients. What are the way of how we can now manage the staging of applications, and also how can we make the code much more maintainable by separating concern, which is also something known as the SOD, the separation of duties. But this is more for the financial sectors and that kind of thing. But this SOC, all right, this separation of concern, what we have to define is that, hey, this is now the way of how we're going to organize our application. This is the kind of abstraction that we're gonna do, right? The logic, the UI logic, the UI abstractions, the UI models as the business logic. So all of this, all right, as a way to make more practical approach of this. So first we look at this pyramid of needs that I think this is something that it aligns to what we want or what we need in this case, as a way to have at least some visualizations of what are the things that we cannot provide to these particular companies to come up with the solution of maintain those code bases. So there will be a lot of applications that are still using, for example, jQuery and React, especially jQuery, because that actually solve the problem that they need, right? That's all. And if you need to add more and more features to this application, using, for example, React might be the best way to actually provide that kind of value, right? And also to make that maintainable as much as possible. So the system here that we started to look, it was the testing, all right, and following with this particular tool that we're going to use when we're building our UI, which is TypeScript, React, V-tests, as a way to make as a way to run all of these tests much more faster, as well as the build process. Again, something we're going to discuss quickly. The testing component and the playwright, right, as a way to run all of these end-to-end applications. All right, so what does it mean? That is, first we look at the unit testing. We talk about is the spectrum of unit, or the spectrum of testing, which is the unit testing, which is only take care about if that particular functionality work as expected. And then as we move to the other spectrum, which is passing through component testings and integration testing, and then E2E testings, something that we're gonna see that later on. But the idea here is to understand is this a spectrum of testing, is this disciplines when it comes to actually write an implementations that pass a particular test, and then we can ship that code or we can integrate that code in a CI/CD process. Okay, but the thing here is that we also look at some of this terminology, right? The jargon, unit testing, the jargon of unit testing. So for example, like tests, assertions, and test suites. Also a more hands approach when it comes to write our tests, specifically using is V-tests. What are the greatest hits when you need to write your test? So for example, we use this to be close, to be equal, and to be. And why we're using is that, what are the the main use case for that? So for example, if you want to make a referential equality or value equality, and this distinction is something important to know, especially because we are going to test is the JavaScript itself, JavaScript functions, Okay, and this is how now you need to go down deeper into the language as a way to say what does it mean. Is equality, referential, and value, because this is the way how now the JavaScript actually store memory, using of course is the C as a way to say, hey, this is the way of how we're going to allocate memory here for this particular value. Pretty much like when you have a drawer, okay, when you say, hey, in this particular section I want to store is socks, and the other section I want to store is boxers, and the other section I want to have some shirts, right? So you know when you open up that drawer where all of the things live on. Okay, so yes, so the greatest hits of that is to be equal to be, all right, and also the to contain, to be close for point floating operations, to match objects, expects dot any, and the array containers and object containers. A way to check if a subset of property actually is on this object that we're returning, right? And then how can we actually now write our tests? Okay, so what is the way of doing that according to Steve Kinney, right? So you define your setup, and then you do the testing logic, and lastly, the assertion. One assertion per test. You put all of the logic at a glance because it's much more easy to actually check what's going on. And when it comes to actually test some advanced or use some advanced techniques, especially when you need to run or test some async operations, we'll use async and await, or expect dot reject or resolve, and also when we need to actually test components, for example, that show on the UI on a particular time and then disappear, how we can use now timers for that as a way to now speed up the time for that, and also with dates. So all of that, it was just to describe is how can we do this on Vite or on the testing system, which is if an application doesn't have that, we can now is starting to lay out the foundation here. And this is just a simple process, and when we need to write our test, we're gonna do that based on things that are relevant, right? Per functionality. So that's one way of how we can easily integrate this particular test to our code base, right? So yeah, and then when it comes to actually see that particular test work as expected, anytime someone make a change, okay, that's when we look at the build step or the build system. We use now the CI/CD process as a way to know that this is the way of how we can now integrate code and then deliver that. That's why we have this particular process. When you understand what is the problem that you want to solve, or the feature you want to add, or the bug you want to fix or smash, and then they implement that. When it comes to integrate that code, you pass through the CI process, which is, hey, let me check if this new change that you added actually won't break the app and pass all the tests. If it is, now return an artifact. Give me an artifact with this new change that we're going to pass down to the continuous deployment, usually in a staging environment close to the production, In this case, the database that is in the staging environment is close to production, so we can now run some tests with real users, or with almost close real users. And if everything went well, all right, now it is time to deploy that, or creating a deployment for that particular release. That's not the end, because we need to actually operate on that, and then is to monitor. So this is a particular process that is repeated, and that actually is something that depends on the type of industry. So for example, in software, you actually want to do that even in the continuous deployment as well. So you don't have is a human to actually verify all of this co-integration. Again, very subtle depending on which type of application we're talking. Okay, but for example, in the healthcare, or the military, or the hardware, you actually want to verify that that works as expected. So you need this human process. So, but in any case, in our case, we're going to use this GitHub Action, which is something that is very interesting. They actually provide us a virtual machines to run our workflow, and that's when we're starting to look at the workflow here, get the anatomy of the workflow, which allow us to define all of these particular jobs, which by default runs in parallel, right? And the great thing of this is that we can reference that particular workflow anytime that we need to. So these jobs are made of a series of steps. So made of steps, it's made of steps that are executed in a runner. So these steps run sequentially, and they can't. So this is a bash script, okay, or actions, which is a custom application, custom GitHub applications for complex and repeated tasks. So, for example, pull a repo into a runner, right? Or set up a tool change for your build environment. A good example of this is that when you need to write your React Native applications, when you want to write, deploy, or build mobile applications, whether it's in iOS or Android, if you want to do that with React Native or with React, okay, you first need to define is the environment where it's gonna run, node, and then install previously the dependency that React need, which is the Android Studio, as well as the build tool for Android Studio, which is using Graven, I think it is, and then also the SDK, and then the environment for iOS, as well as Cocoa, and the particularly build tool for creating this iOS applications, and the environment as well, the Xcode. And then when you're going to install is the React Native dependency. So all of these different series of steps that you have to do just to configure, to set up the build environment, which is a monotonous, complex, tedious task, GitHub Actions actually save you a lot of time for that. Again, this is a wild example of this. You can actually take a look at the say GitHub Action here of React Native, right? Marketplace Actions React Native versions, right? For example, this React Native version. A composing GitHub action for review for version bump in npm package, respective Android and iOS file. But again, you have now a marketplace where you can actually check that kind of thing. You say, hey, React Native, okay, the React Native CI, the React Native build, React Native versions. You know, all of these complex tasks to do that. It's like, hey, React build native app for Android platform. What about for iOS? You have that one? React Native Android build, React Native Android build APK. Interesting. Oh, GitHub Action for App Center code push for React Native. But this is only for you got iOS build actions, build iOS project, and export IPy. You know, all of this very interesting stuff. These actions build iOS projects and can export to IPy, so it can be continuously delivered to deploy gate and test fly. Self-hosted is also supported. If you use self-hosted, install Xcode. You know, but all of these things, which is something that is quite tedious, require all of this step, is something that you can do as well. The other is set up an authentication for cloud providers. So for example, with AWS, right? Let's say here you wanna do that for AWS CLI, right? Exactly. You have action for AWS CLI. Set up AWS SAM CLI. But I think this is from there. Exactly. Set up SAM. Verify creator. Okay. This action enables you to run AWS SAM CLI command in order to build, package, and deploy serverless application, right? Again, all of this particularly tedious tasks that we need to do for that, which is great. I got another good example is, for example, Firebase, let's say, Firebase deployment, right? But then you have something that is, what about Google? Google Authentication Cloud, okay, Google Action Testing. So for example here, authentication to Google Cloud from GitHub Actions. It's like, hey, I just want to, anytime I want to use a particular service, here is my credentials here. So then I can now, for example, in that runner, which is where all of these jobs are executed, now I can actually do that. And this runner is just virtual machines that GitHub provide to you per jobs, okay? Where they are now freshly created. So anytime you run a job, GitHub provides you a new fresh VM, which can be Mac or Linux or Ubuntu, right? So we also look at how can we create our particularly workflow that will be triggered based on events, which is a list of GitHub actions or a schedule that you want to run. So based on a particular schedule, I want you to run this workflow, or when you want to trigger webhook from other places, so posting it to a REST API, right? So for example, you want to test now a particularly Stripe workflow. Hey, once a particular user now is here, I want to spin up this actually is working as expected. Anyway, so I also look at how can we protect our branch. Okay, again, this is more like the process. And when we need to protect our branch, here is when we started to look at the not only the thing that we can do. So for example, hey, I want you to, anytime you want to merge something on a PR before merging, I want to someone actually approve those change. and run some tests before merging. Okay, check require status checks to pass before merging, and that's what we look now here when we hit the brake, as a way to understand now this particular uh, policies and security models that are needed and used when you're building these enterprise UI applications. So first is compliant. So that is this is conducted by SOC, right, which is a trust service criteria, and then you have now zero trust security model. So yep, SOC is this. Let me see if they actually tell you something like that. Compliance. Also, information security management, which is part of this international standard. Okay. Interesting. The ISO. Okay, the ISO 4 information security management, information security management, right? Is this one? Information security, cybersecurity, and privacy protections. Okay. This is a standard for this. Information security management systems. Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Good. Good. PCDDS compliant and FedRAMP. And then you got, okay, GDPR for that. HIPAA has. What is this? Oh shit, nigga. Oh shit, nigga. Health and Human Services. Oh crap. HIPAA for individuals. HIPAA compliance. Okay. Jesus. Okay. The ISO. That's right. The SOC 2. Damn, so there's a lot of regulations here. It's a lot of regulation. Rehabilitation Act. This section is something interesting. PCDDS. Okay. Oh. Lei Geral de Proteção de Dados. Even in Brazil as well. In Brazil, in Hong Kong. Okay. Oh my God. Welcome. Eulier, welcome. Oh my God. Welcome, my friend. Oh shit. I unboxed the Pandora. Oh crap. I open up the Pandora box. I open up the Pandora box. Jesus fucking Christ. El gobierno. Jesus freaking Christ. European Banking Authority. Okay. Oh, crap. Holy moly. Atlassian is bombarded. This is international. So Atlassian is bombarded. Atlassian is bombarded. Asia Pacific. God damn. Atlassian is bombarded from. Oh my god. FedRAMP. Federal Risk and Authorization Management Program. Okay. Authority Bank. European Bank Authority. European National Cybersecurity. Cloud Security Alliance. Cloud Security Alliance. Cloud Security Alliance. Okay. PCI DSS. Oh, right. PCI DSS compliant. PCI. Financial. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Ooh, that's sensitive. Okay. Payment card. Payment card. What's the PCI? Security Standard Council. Oh my god. Okay. Higher Education Cloud Vendor Assessment Toolkit. In HYPA as well as it. Okay. All right. Let's go to summarize this a little bit. All right. A world of trust and security, right? So a company with decent size will implement this kind of policies as a way to protect their assets. So we have SOC, a trust service security. Okay, as a way to companies with this insight will implement this kind of policy as a way to protect their assets. So we have compliance and policies. Holy moly. Compliance and policies. We got SOC, all right. We got cybersecurity. I would like to take a look at the international first. the international, the Cybersecurity Alliance. Cybersecurity Alliance, which is Cybersecurity Alliance. All right. Cybersecurity Alliance. And here I want to put this. That's right. So Cybersecurity Alliance, but make this on English, please. That's right. Cybersecurity Alliance. Okay. FedRAMP. This is from the US. Okay. A government-wide program that provides a standardized approach to security and risk assessment, authorization, and continuous monitoring for cloud products. FedRAMP. FedRAMP. Federal Risk Authorization Management Program. Federal risk and authorization program. Of course, in the US. That's right. That's why a lot of people actually did to this. The European Banking Trust. All right. The EEBA, the European Banking what? European Banking Authority. Okay. All right. Please visit the BaFin. Bundesamt für Finanzdienstleistungsgesellschaft. Goddamn. The hell, how do you say this? Now I want to know how can I pronounce this. Bundesamt für Finanzdienstleistungsgesellschaft. God damn it. Okay. Translator. Right. How do you say this in? That's right.
Bundesanstalt für Finanzdienstleistungsaufsicht.
Bundesanstalt. There must be some sort of authority or something that you can stand off that. Bundesanstalt für Finanzdienstleistungsaufsicht.
Bundesanstalt für Finanzdienstleistungsaufsicht.
For Finanzen.
Bundesanstalt für Finanzdienstleistungsaufsicht.
For Finanzdienstleistungsaufsicht. What the fuck?
Bundesanstalt für Finanzdienstleistungsaufsicht.
Für Finanzdienstleistungsaufsicht. What is this? What is this? Office? Oh, that's what. Oh, shit. Those outfit mean supervision? It kind of sounds the same. But like Auschwitz. It kind of sounds the same. Auschwitz is interesting. So Auschwitz. Auschwitz, 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 Auschwitz. Okay. So Auschwitz. So Auschwitz means authorization. That's quite interesting. Financian, yeah. Finanzienstellungsstelle Auschwitz. It's an authority that is going to audit, inspect the finance. Oh crap. Auschwitz. Konzentrationslang Auschwitz. Okay. Okay, so when you translate this here, alright, you say, hey, Auschwitz, how the fuck? Auschwitz and Auschwitz. Okay, it's different.
Aufsicht.
Auschwitz, exactly. Auschwitz is different to Auschwitz. Auschwitz. But it doesn't mean anything here, right? If you're trying to translate that from out, that's right. Is Auschwitz. Auschwitz.
Aufsicht.
Auschwitz. Okay. Supervision. Auschwitz.
Aufsicht.
Auschwitz. Okay.
Bundesanstalt für Finanzdienstleistungs.
For Finanzdienstleistung. Wait, what? No, but Bundesstaat, because this is like some sort of stand. Okay. A federal agency. Bundesanstalt. Bundesanstalt. Oof, when you look at this kind of words like Bundesanstalt, for Finanzdienstleistung, for Finanzdienstleistung, Auschwitz. Stellstun, you know? Stellstun. Finanzstellstun Auschwitz. Finanzstellstun Auschwitz. That's quite interesting. I know this is not a German class. I know. I know that may take a huge tangent here. That's not quite relevant. But the thing here is to understand where did this come from. Bundesanstalt für Finanzdienstleistung Auschwitz. Okay. Mike? No. Mm-mm. No. ENISA, right? So yeah. You got this one. All right. You have Cloud Security Alliance. Exactly. That's quite interesting. The Cybersecurity Cloud Security Alliance. This is also something interesting here, where they put that in this payment card industry. Damn, so the PCI compliance, payment card industry compliance, man. It's a proprietary information. Oh, it's a proprietary information security standard administered by PCI Security Standard Council. It's a set of network security and business best practice guidelines adopted by the PI security, but this is a proprietary. They're not full, bros. HIPAA. Health and Human Research. Health Institute. What does HIPAA stand for? U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Okay, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. They try to be as much as I bet possible. They put Chinese here. They put some sort of Latino, black, or white. You know, it's like, oh my god, oh my god. Lowering drug costs here. Yeah, but okay. This is something important, my friend, to put it here. Even European Banking Authority, followed by the BANG as well. Bundesstand okay. Bundesstand for Finanzstellen Ausschuss. For Finanzstellen Ausschuss. Bundesstand, exact. It's the Bundesstand.
Bundesanstalt für Finanzdienstleistungsaufsicht.
Bundesanstalt. Interesting. Bundesanstalt für Finanzdienstleistungsaufsicht. That's interesting. That's very, very interesting. No crap. Oh crap. Yeah, I want to put this thing here. You know, Bundesanstalt für Bundesanstalt für Finanzdienstleistungsaufsicht. There is a lot of fucking constant there. There's few vocals there. That is a huge amount of. You wanna. Anyway, but the other thing is the security compliance. This is something very, very important. PCI, because this is a payment card industry compliance. Payment card industry compliance, man. Payment card industry data security standards. Okay. Payment card industry data security standards. Data security standards. Right? Again, this is just only to describe briefly. The other is the international here. Or global. Alright. Reset. Data protection here. Like this one. FedRAMPs, and I think this is one of the most not most important, but all of them are quite important. But those who show that, because you have SOC trust criteria, you also have is the ISO standard, which is here. Oh my god, ISO standard, ISO 27001 2022, which is this information security management systems, which is it is information security management systems. Okay. Information security management systems. This is information security management systems. Okay. Holy moly, bro. Whew. Jesus. Oh crap, bro. There's a lot of things to learn. Yeah, there's a lot of things to learn. We trust Atlassian to take care of our security. That's why huge companies actually go to Atlassian, because, well, they are aligned to all of this compliance. So regardless where you are geographically located, right, you can now use this. And Atlassian, okay, that'll be a very interesting name to describe. Atlassian. Why Atlassian? It was founded in Sydney. It was founded in Sydney. Scott Farquhar. And my Canon bricks. Of Atlassian. Okay. Anyway, Tiro Payments, University of New South Wales, Professor in Computer Science and Engineering, Chairman, Principal in Rock Ventures. Okay, that's quite interesting. That's very, very interesting. Yep, that's very, very, very interesting. All right. Yeah, impossible alone, exactly. But you need to actually move forward to that. Okay. So yeah, Atlassian, right? We talk about here Atlassian. Yeah. 8,000. That's not too much. And that's what all of this kind of company actually is lean as French slow as possible. Similar to GitHub and GitLab, right? Anyway, it's because over the more than 20 years, all of these software as a service companies, okay, or factory companies, They of course now relying is on Atlassian, because they are not only follow compliance policy but also trust security models. Mm. Mm. Security, data security, identity and access management. Exactly. So we talk about is identity access management in terms of security, identity access management, zero trust principle, privacy, and recovery. WordPress, and is a using is Redux, exact, as a way to manage the state of this with Java. Yeah, I prefer to learn Java, by the way. Then that's quite interesting. That's very, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Oh, feature management, launch darkly. I am here about this. It's a continuous delivery and feature flag as a service platform that integrate into a company's current deployment cycle. So if you want to have now the power of disable a particular feature that was deployed, you can do it with just single click here. Ship faster, safer, and smarter. Like the flag, segment, and release. In any case, we're taking too far away from this. Okay. All right. And hyper and also the FEMA for Swiss Financial Markets Authority, and all of them want to do that. So HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. So let me just describe is the one of the most relevant here, not the most important, but the most relevant here. So you have now HIPAA, which stands for Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Holy crap. Health insurance portability, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Portability and Accountability Act. HIPAA, exactly. All right. This is compliance. All right. We talk about compliance. We talk about compliance. Interesting. And security, man. And security models. Okay, and security models. Okay. That's right. Then you have now the castle, and mouth, right? Castle and mouth. Oh my god. It's like, oh my god, right? Okay. This, okay. Is trustworthy. Okay. Then you also have FEMA, so Financial Market Supervisor Authority in Switzerland. You know, you have all of this you have all of this that, not issue, that authorities, where they're going to do things on your, based on you know. FEMA. Well, they're going to you, well, they're gonna do things that are good for you, right? This protection a layer here. All right. So there we have now several compliance and policies here, especially when we are writing software for this particular use case. Most of the times they are from, or I think that the most general or all, okay, compliance and policies, general, general or global. Interesting. Are you hungry? Global. For that, you have global, and then you have more geo-specific, right? I will argue that this is also important, my friend. But this hyper, this is more for the US. It's a federal regulation developed by the US. Okay. In the US, right? That's what I put this thing here. But these are the globals, bro. Okay. Okay. These are the globals. These are the globals. Okay. Okay. But these are the globals. Okay. 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 All right. Okay. So. Hmm. Okay. Okay. So we briefly describe about the SOC, right? So we are now describing is here the compliance and policies, okay, followed by the security models. So first we're starting to look at what are the globals. So for example, like SOC 2, okay, which you can briefly summarize by trust service criteria, okay. And this is now conducted by the American Institute of Public Certified Public Accountant. Okay. The next is this international standard organizations, uh, which is very from this, right. Let me see if they actually pull this in here. The ISO. No, ISO. This one, that's right. Just wait to see that. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. The ISO family. Okay. International Organization for Standardization. And the standardization actually, even though that has something straight off, but the value that provide is that people like me that come from places like Venezuela, all right, now can understand, describe, and provide solutions based on this standard, based on this agreement, based on this based on these agreements, based on these agreements and rules and code, set of instructions. So consensus, based on this consensus and agreement. Okay. God damn. All right. Okay. So it's an independent, non-governmental institution organization with an international membership of 167 nation standards body. The ISO EXC 27,000 family of standard helps organizations to keep their information assets secure. ISO in this 2013 is a security management standard that specifies security management best practice, a comprehensive security control. Following the ISO ESC 2 best practice guidance. The basic of this certification is the developing of implementation of a rigorous security programs. So you have now disciplines as a way to make your program secure, which includes. But this program must be adapted, which includes the development and implementation of an information security management systems, which we call the Atlassian Trust Management Systems. But this is all about this information security management system and Atlassian Trust Management System, which define how we manage security in an holistic and comprehensible manner. So all the companies like that, Hitachi, Global Logic, Global, they must follow this particular compliance. Where they define how they're gonna manage in an holistic, so how they're gonna manage security in an holistic and comprehensive manner. Personally identifiable information in line with the privacy principles of this. For the public, and now you have now privacy framework. Okay, security techniques, and of course you have to pay for them. Specify a common privacy terminology. Defines the actors and their roles in processing personally identifiable information. Describe privacy security safeguard considerations and provide reference to no privacy principle for information technology. Basic elements of privacy framework. Collection limitation, data minimization, using retention and disclosure limitation, accuracy and quality, openness, transparency and notice. Okay. And this is terms and definitions. PII processors, personally identifiable subjects and processors. But again, it's gonna tell you is all of this. All right. Okay. So that's why you have now frameworks like information security management systems. We also have now cybersecurity alliance for the cloud computing. I think this is cloud. Exactly, this is cloud security alliance. We also have now a program made by the US to reduce risk and authorizations, and the payment card industry data security standards. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Let me actually now describe is at least this global compliance and policies that we need to know, and that'll be for this video. Take care. Bye bye.